Welcome to English Through Ideas podcast, where we learn English through powerful ideas.
Thank you. I am really excited to dive into this one.
Yeah, so imagine walking down a hallway at work, and suddenly you are walking like 20% slower. Your shoulders are slumped, and you just feel tired.
Right.
And the crazy thing is, all of this is happening just because you read the word wrinkle on a piece of paper like 5 minutes ago.
Which sounds completely absurd, I know.
It really does. But today, we are exploring the invisible strings that control your behavior without you ever knowing it. We're doing a deep dive into the groundbreaking psychology of Daniel Kahneman to understand how our minds actually make decisions.
It is a really profound topic because, we constantly feel like we are in total control of our choices.
Exactly. We think we're the boss.
Right. But Kahneman's research reveals a very different reality. There is actually a hidden battle happening in your head every single day. And by understanding the mechanics of how we think, you can learn to communicate better, avoid massive mental traps, and just fundamentally grow as a person.
I love that. So to get us started, we need to meet the two characters fighting for control inside our brains.
Yes, the two system.
Right. Let's call them System 1 and System 2. So System 1 is the fast, automatic, highly emotional part of your brain.
And it takes absolutely zero effort to use.
Yeah, exactly. Think about driving down the highway and catching a glimpse of a giant billboard, or walking into a room and instantly knowing your friend is furious with you.
Right, you don't have to consciously try to read the billboard.
No, not at all. And you don't analyze your friend's facial muscles, like, oh, their eyebrows are lowered. It just happens to you.
And that automatic response is really the defining feature of System 1. It operates completely in silence, instantly jumping to conclusions just to, keep you moving through the world.
Okay, but then you have System 2.
Right. This character is slow, it's deeply logical, and it requires intense focus.
So this is when someone asks you to, like, multiply 17 by 24 in your head.
Exactly. Or when you are trying to fill out a really confusing tax form. System 2 is the conscious, reasoning voice in your head. Basically, it is who you think you are.
But using System 2 comes with a heavy physical cost, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just a mental shift.
Oh, far from it. When System 2 is working hard, your body literally goes into a state of physical arousal.
Wow, really?
Yeah. Psychologists actually ran an experiment where people had to add numbers to a string of digits in their head while keeping perfect time with a ticking metronome.
That sounds incredibly stressful.
It is an incredibly difficult task. And while the participants did this, their heart rate spiked, their blood pressure went up.
Just from doing math.
Just from the math. And if you looked closely at their eyes, their pupils dramatically dilated. It is a massive drain on your body's energy resources.
So because it takes so much energy, it causes this crazy tunnel vision, right?
Yes, exactly.
Because when System 2 is sprinting, your attention is so completely used up that you can become totally blind to your surroundings. Like the famous invisible gorilla experiment.
Oh, that is a classic.
Yeah. So people are asked to watch a video of two teams passing basketballs, and their only job is to count the passes made by the team in white.
And counting passes while tracking moving players, well, it demands immense focus from System 2. It requires almost all of your mental bandwidth.
Right. So while they're counting, a person in a full gorilla suit walks right into the middle of the basketball court, thumps their chest, and slowly walks off.
Which is ridiculous.
It's completely ridiculous. But half of the people watching never even see the gorilla. They're totally blind to it.
Yeah.
And there's another study where people are doing heavy mental math, and a giant letter K flashes on the screen right in front of their eyes, and they completely miss it.
Well, the mechanism there is crucial to understand. And you see, you don't have an infinite supply of attention. Your brain has to allocate energy. So when System 2 needs all the power to count passes or do math, it literally shuts down the visual processing for everything else.
So think of it this way. System 1 is like driving on an empty highway on total autopilot.
Right.
You are relaxed. You aren't thinking about your foot on the gas pedal. You're just cruising.
I like that.
But System 2 is like trying to parallel park a massive truck in a tiny space on a busy street while, your friends are sitting in the back seat watching you in total silence.
That is awful.
It takes absolutely everything you have to not crash.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. And if parallel parking takes that much intense energy, you simply cannot do it all day.
No, you'd be exhausted.
Exactly. System 2 gets exhausted very quickly, which leads to a fascinating problem. Because System 2 requires so much effort, it is naturally lazy.
Lazy.
Yes, it operates on the law of least effort. If it can avoid doing the hard work, it absolutely will.
Okay, let's test that laziness right now. For everyone listening, I have a famous puzzle.
Oh, the bat and ball.
Yeah, the bat and ball. So listen closely and see what number instantly pops into your head. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 in total. The bat costs exactly $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost?
I love this one. For almost everyone, the immediate shouting answer in your mind is 10 cents.
10 cents. It feels so obviously right. But if you slow down and do the math,
Which takes effort.
right, which takes effort, if the ball is 10 cents and the bat is $1 more, then the bat is $1.10. Add them together and you get $1.20.
Exactly.
The real answer is 5 cents. If the ball is 5 cents, the bat is $1.05. Together, that makes $1.10.
So what you're experiencing there is the tension between the two systems.
Yeah.
System 1 offers a fast, incredibly tempting but wrong answer, which is 10 cents. System 2 is supposed to step in and check the math, but checking takes effort.
And we know System 2 hates effort.
Right. Over 50% of students at highly competitive universities like Harvard and MIT gave the wrong answer.
Wait, really? Harvard students.
Yes, not because they can't do basic math, but because their System 2 was too lazy to spend 3 seconds verifying the answer.
Wow. If the smartest students in the world fail a basic math problem just because their brain wants to be lazy, what happens when we are dealing with real-life choices?
Well, it leads to a phenomenon called ego depletion.
Ego depletion, okay.
Think of self-control and mental effort as a physical muscle. Every time you force yourself to focus or resist a temptation, you flex that muscle.
Okay.
And just like doing push-ups, the muscle gets tired. In one fascinating study, people were forced to memorize a long string of 7 numbers.
Which forces System 2 to work very hard.
Exactly. While holding those numbers in their head, they were offered a choice for a snack: a rich, sugary chocolate cake or a healthy fruit salad.
And let me guess, they went for the cake.
Overwhelmingly. Because their System 2 was busy keeping those 7 numbers active, it had no energy left to fight off temptation.
So it just gave up.
Pretty much. System 1 is impulsive, it has a sweet tooth and wants immediate gratification. When the rational bouncer of System 2 is distracted, System 1 grabs the cake.
So ego depletion means that when we are tired, our impulses run the show.
That is right.
I actually read about how this affects the justice system, and it is terrifying.
The Israeli judges study.
Yeah? There was a study done on parole judges in Israel. These are highly trained professionals who spend all day deciding if prisoners should be released early.
Keep in mind, granting parole is a risky decision.
Right, because if the person reoffends, it looks bad.
Exactly. The default safe choice is to deny parole and keep the prisoner in jail. Approving a release requires System 2 to deeply analyze the prisoner's record, weigh the risks, and make a tough call.
Right. And researchers found that first thing in the morning or right after a meal, the judges granted about 65% of the parole requests.
Which is pretty high.
Yeah. But as the hours passed and the judges got tired and hungry, the approval rate steadily dropped.
Because of ego depletion.
Exactly. By the time it was right before their next food break, the rate of granting parole dropped to almost 0.
Wow.
The judges were completely depleted, so their lazy brain just took the easy way out and said no to everyone.
It's sobering, really.
Okay, so I have a practical dilemma here.
Yeah.
Real life doesn't pause just because my brain is tired.
No, it certainly doesn't.
What if I am in a high-stakes business negotiation at 11:30 in the morning and I'm exhausted and starving? Am I just doomed to make terrible impulsive decisions? Like, do I have to cancel the meeting?
Well, you don't have to cancel, but you do need to understand the biology of what is happening.
Okay, tell me.
The nervous system runs heavily on glucose, sugar. When you do hard mental tasks, your blood glucose levels visibly drop.
So my brain is actually eating sugar.
Literally, yes. To test this, researchers had people do a mentally exhausting task, completely depleting their System 2. Then they gave half the group lemonade sweetened with real sugar.
And the other half?
The other half got lemonade with an artificial sweetener like Splenda.
So one group gets actual energy. The other just gets the taste of sweet.
Precisely. And the group that drank the real sugar completely overcame their ego depletion. They performed brilliantly on the next test, while the artificial sweetener group kept making lazy, impulsive errors.
It is wild.
Glucose physically restores your rational brain. So if you are stuck in that high-stakes negotiation before lunch, drink a glass of apple juice. You literally need to feed System 2.
That makes so much sense. But what happens if we don't feed it? When our rational brain is exhausted, System 1 takes the steering wheel, right?
Yes, completely.
And because System 1 works entirely in the background, it turns out it is highly vulnerable to being manipulated by our environment.
Right. Psychologists call this priming.
Priming.
Priming is the unsettling reality that exposure to a simple word or image can unconsciously change your physical behavior.
And this goes back to what I said in the intro.
Yes, the Florida effect. That is the most famous example. Researchers had young college students assemble sentences out of a random list of words. For one specific group, the list secretly included words associated with old age.
Words like wrinkle, bald, gray, and Florida.
Exactly.
And then the researchers secretly timed how fast these young students walked down the hallway to get to the next room.
Yes. And the students who had been primed with the old age words walked significantly slower down the hallway than everyone else.
Wait, I really need to understand this. Just reading the word wrinkle physically slowed down their legs.
Yes.
How is that neurological connection even made?
It is all about associative memory networks. System 1 stores information like a giant web. When you read wrinkle, it unconsciously lights up the concept of old age.
Okay.
And old age is linked to the concept of moving slowly. So without you ever realizing it, your brain prepares your body to act out the concept that was just activated.
Did the students know?
No. When interviewed later, not a single student noticed the theme of the words, and they absolutely refused to believe that the words altered their walking speed.
It's almost like our brain is a computer running background programs that we don't even know are open.
That is a great analogy.
And those hidden programs completely change how we interact with reality. And the crazy thing is, it works in reverse, too. Your body can prime your brain.
Oh, yes.
Think about the pencil and mouth experiment.
That is a brilliant example of the feedback loop.
So if you take a pencil and hold it sideways between your teeth, it forces your facial muscles into a physical smile.
Try it. It really does.
But if you hold it by the eraser in your lips, it forces your face into a frown.
Right.
Researchers had people do this while looking at comic strips. The people who were forced to smile by the pencil actually found the comics genuinely funnier than the people who were frowning.
It's amazing.
Your physical actions control your emotions just as much as your emotions control your actions.
And these background programs drastically alter our morality, too. Consider the honesty box experiment.
Oh, I love this one.
In a university break room, staff paid for coffee by dropping coins into a small box. There was no cashier. It relied entirely on the honor system.
Okay.
Above the price list, researchers placed a photograph. One week, it was a picture of beautiful flowers. The next week, they swapped it for a picture of intense, staring human eyes.
Just a printed picture of eyes.
Yes. And they alternated this for 10 weeks.
The results of this are mind-blowing. During the weeks when the staring eyes were on the wall, people paid almost 3 times as much money for their coffee compared to the flower weeks.
Right.
A purely symbolic, printed picture of eyes triggered a background program in System 1 that said, "You are being watched. Behave." It activated social conformity.
Money does this too. Just seeing a computer screensaver with dollar bills floating on it completely changes a person's behavior.
Really? How so?
Well, people primed by money become measurably more selfish. They are less willing to help a confused student. If someone accidentally drops a box of pencils, the money-primed people help pick up fewer pencils.
Wow.
The concept of money activates an individualistic, independent background program in System 1.
Okay, but if my brain is constantly running these background programs based on random pictures and words in my environment, how do we even know what a real independent thought is?
That is the big question.
How do we know what is actually true?
That is the perfect question, and it brings us to a massive vulnerability in our psychology, the illusion of cognitive ease.
Cognitive ease. Explain how that works.
Cognitive ease is a state where your mental processing is going smoothly. When information is easy for your brain to digest, you feel safe, your mood improves, and most dangerously, you naturally believe that the information is true. System 1 uses ease as a shortcut for truth.
Let me try an analogy. It's like System 1 is a bouncer at a nightclub.
Okay, I like where this is going.
If a piece of information walks up to the door and looks familiar or is dressed nicely, the bouncer just unhooks the velvet rope and lets it right into your belief system without checking his ID.
Yes.
And System 2, the manager, never even gets called.
That perfectly captures the dynamic. Familiarity breeds liking and belief. In one study, researchers simply repeated Turkish-sounding words in a college newspaper for a few weeks. No definitions, just the words.
Just random words.
Right. Later, they asked students to rate whether those words meant something good or bad. The students overwhelmingly rated the familiar words as meaning something good, simply because their brains process them easily.
And it's not just repetition, right?
Huh.
The formatting of the information changes how true it feels.
Oh, absolutely.
People read a rhyming phrase like woes unite foes,
Huh.
and they rated it as incredibly insightful and true. But when they read a phrase with the exact same meaning that didn't rhyme, they thought it was less valid. A high-quality paper or a bright, clear font makes a statement feel more credible. System 1 physically cannot tell the difference between this is easy to read and this is a true fact.
That is exactly right.
Okay, I have to stop you because this feels a bit scary.
It is a little scary.
Are you saying that a clever marketer or a politician can just use a bright blue font, rhyme their slogans, and repeat them enough times to literally brainwash my System 1 into believing a lie?
I'm saying that human psychology is highly vulnerable to that exact tactic. If you want people to blindly accept a falsehood, making it simple, memorable, and easy to read is the most effective way to bypass their critical thinking.
Wow.
But understanding this gives us a powerful defense mechanism. We can intentionally use the opposite cognitive strain to protect ourselves.
Cognitive strain, so making things intentionally difficult to process.
Exactly. When information is hard to read or confusing, the System 1 bouncer gets suspicious. He realizes he can't handle it, so he wakes up the System 2 manager to come check the ID.
Oh, I see.
Remember the bat and ball puzzle, where the lazy answer is 10 cents?
Yeah.
Researchers took that exact same puzzle, but instead of clear black text, they printed it in a washed-out, incredibly hard-to-read, light gray font.
So you made it physically annoying to look at.
Yes. The students had to squint, their eyes strained. This physical discomfort instantly woke up System 2.
Interesting.
When the puzzle was printed normally, 90% of the students made the lazy mistake. But when it was printed in the terrible gray font, the mistake rate plummeted to 35%.
That is a massive drop.
The sheer discomfort forced them to slow down, engage their rational brain, and do the actual math. In the right context, a bad font can literally make you smarter.
I love the idea that slight discomfort is actually our brain's alarm system. But even when the alarm goes off and we slow down to think deeply, there's still one final trap.
There is.
It is the danger of jumping to conclusions based on limited information.
Kahneman coined an acronym for this. WYSIOD. It stands for What You See Is All There Is.
What you see is all there is.
Right. System 1 is, at its core, a machine for creating coherent stories. It takes whatever tiny scrap of information it has and builds the best, most logical narrative possible.
Okay.
Crucially, it completely ignores the fact that there might be massive amounts of information it doesn't know.
The classic example is this. Imagine I ask you, will Mindik be a good leader? She is intelligent and strong.
And your brain instantly shouts, yes! Intelligent and strong are fantastic leadership qualities.
Exactly. But you jumped the gun. Because the human mind hates uncertainty, you formed a conclusion before you even finished the sentence.
Right.
What if the next two words describing Mindik were corrupt and cruel? An intelligent, strong, corrupt, and cruel leader is a terrifying dictator.
Absolutely.
But you didn't wait to ask if there was more information. What you see is all there is.
And this is exactly what causes the halo effect. Let's say you go to a party and meet someone named Joan. Joan is super friendly and greets you with a warm smile.
Nice to meet you, Joe.
Right. System 1 loves consistency, so it puts a glowing halo over Joan. Later, someone asks, do you think Joan is a generous person? You will instinctively say yes.
Even though I don't know anything about her money.
You have zero evidence of her financial generosity. You have never seen her donate to charity. But because she is friendly, your brain assumes all her other traits must be positive too.
This happens all the time in the corporate world. But how do we actually combat it? Imagine we are sitting in a boardroom. We need to hire a new director. How do we prevent a room full of smart people from just falling for the halo effect and agreeing with the first good story someone tells?
The solution to this is a technique called decorrelating error.
The decorrelating error, how does that work?
Well, when you have a group of people, their individual perspectives and mistakes are usually different. But the moment they start talking openly, the first assertive person to speak will create a halo effect. Oh, because they prime the room.
Exactly. Their confident story becomes the anchor, and everyone else's lazy System 2 just nods along. To stop this, before the discussion even begins, you must have everyone write down their brief opinion on a piece of paper in silence.
Oh, that is brilliant. By forcing everyone to write it down, you lock in their independent thoughts before the invisible strings of social conformity can pull them.
Precisely. It is about building external structures, like writing things down or intentionally creating cognitive strain to protect us from the natural laziness and vulnerabilities of our own minds.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final mind-expanding thought about how our brain's love for storytelling tricks us. We've talked about how we invent stories about the present, but it is even more extreme when we look back at the past.
Oh, yes.
Psychologists call it the narrative fallacy and hindsight bias.
It stems from our deep hatred of uncertainty. You see, the world is chaotic and unpredictable, but our brains cannot handle that reality. So when an event finishes, we immediately rewrite history to make it seem inevitable. Think about watching a football game. Two evenly matched teams are playing, and nobody knows what will happen. But then one team totally dominates the second half.
Right.
The moment the game is over, the commentators and us on the couch use hindsight to pretend it was obvious all along. We say, well, of course they won. You could see their defensive strategy was vastly superior.
We conveniently forget that 3 hours ago we had absolutely no clue who would win.
Exactly.
And this has serious real-world consequences, especially in fields like medicine or finance. A doctor makes a highly complex, difficult medical choice. If the patient has a bad outcome, lawyers and families look back and say, the doctor should have known this would happen.
Even though they couldn't have.
Right. They ignore the fact that, at the time, it was an unpredictable gamble. We completely discount the massive role that pure luck plays in our lives, and we pretend the world is much more predictable than it actually is.
It all comes back to recognizing the limits of our own minds. The first step to truly growing as a person is accepting your own ignorance. So as you go through your week, try to notice the two characters in your head.
That is great advice.
Pay attention to when your System 2 bouncer is getting tired. Look around for the invisible strings of priming in your office or your home.
And, watch out for cognitive ease.
Yes. And the next time you find yourself instantly judging a person or a situation, pause and ask yourself, am I just assuming that what I see is all there is? Applying these ideas won't just make you a sharper thinker. It will fundamentally change how you experience the world. Thank you for learning with English through ideas. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe for more ideas, more English, and more growth.